This video will explain the roles and capabilities of the Stripe objects that facilitate payments. Understanding these objects and how they relate to each other will help you build and maintain an optimal integration, demystify these objects when you see them in the Stripe dashboard, and make the data in our reports easier to understand. Let's start by looking at charges. Charge objects represent a single attempt to move money into a Stripe account. Typically, a charge represents an incoming payment from a customer, like a card payment or a bank transfer. But charges also represent money moving into a Stripe account from another Stripe account when using Stripe Connect. Charge objects have IDs that start with either a CH underscore or PY underscore prefix. All charges are accessed using the Charges API regardless of the prefix used. Next, we have payment intents. Payment intents are designed to keep track of someone's intent to pay a specific amount of money across multiple attempts or an extended period of time. As a result, payment intents support many synchronous and asynchronous forms of payment, like card payments, with or without 3D Secure Authentication, bank transfers, digital wallet payments, vouchers, and more. Payment intent object IDs have a PI underscore prefix. Payment intents create charges when they attempt to move money into a Stripe account, which happens during or after the payment intent is confirmed. A payment may require multiple attempts, so a payment intent may create multiple charges. Both payment intents and charges are low-level payment objects that provide a powerful foundation to build on. In fact, the higher-level objects we're about to look at are built on top of these low-level objects. Now let's look at invoices. Invoices are detailed statements of amounts owed by a customer and are very similar to other invoices you've previously encountered outside of Stripe. Invoices allow you to specify line items, customer information, collect tax, and more. Invoice object IDs have an IN underscore prefix. When payment is required, invoices create payment intents to collect the total amount due. Next up are subscriptions. Subscriptions are invoice creation engines which facilitate recurring payments. In other words, a subscription gives you the ability to have Stripe automatically generate invoices for your customer for each subscription period. Subscription object IDs have an SUB underscore prefix, and subscriptions create invoices. Subscriptions and invoices are billing objects designed to collect recurring revenue, but one-off invoices can also be created without a subscription. Now let's talk about checkout sessions. Checkout sessions handle configuration and interaction with a specific instance of our hosted payment page, Stripe Checkout, including the products being purchased, the prices of those products, shipping address collection, promotion codes, tax, and more. Checkout session object IDs have a CS underscore prefix. Checkout sessions can be configured to handle many different payment flows. When configured for a single one-off payment, a checkout session will create a payment intent. You can configure checkout sessions to create invoices for one-off payments as well. Checkout sessions can also facilitate recurring payments by creating a subscription. Now let's look at payment links. Payment links manage shareable, reusable Stripe-hosted URLs which generate checkout sessions when visited. Payment links are useful if you want to sell the same thing over and over again to many different people using Stripe Checkout. Payment link object IDs have a plink underscore prefix, and payment links create checkout sessions. Payment links and checkout sessions are programmatic interfaces to Stripe Checkout, our hosted payment page which is optimized for conversion and does a lot of the heavy lifting for you. Payment links, checkout sessions, subscriptions, and invoices are all high-level objects. These high-level objects provide many useful features, including support for calculating and collecting tax, collecting shipping details, applying shipping rates, calculating discounts, and customer-facing promotion codes. These high-level objects also provide detailed line items, and they make use of Stripe's product and price objects. We recommend using high-level objects whenever possible. High-level features like tax, shipping, and discounts are useful when you want Stripe to help you calculate the amount that needs to be paid. High-level objects also provide useful automated functionality like recurring payments. Note that any of the objects shown here can be your integration starting point. For example, you can create a payment link which is configured to create subscriptions. When visited, the payment link will create a checkout session. The checkout session will create a subscription. The subscription will create an invoice. The invoice will create a payment intent to collect the total amount due. Finally, the payment intent will create a charge when it attempts to collect that total. But you don't have to start with payment links. You can create checkout sessions directly if that makes more sense for your use case. You can also skip checkout sessions and create subscriptions directly if you don't want to use Stripe Checkout. Or you can create invoices directly without subscriptions. If you don't need recurring payments, you can also configure payment links to collect one-off payments. Or you can create checkout sessions directly for one-off payments. And remember, you can configure checkout to generate invoices for one-off payments as well. Alternatively, if you want to handle all of the high-level functionality on your end, you can create payment intents without using any of our high-level objects. You should create payment intents directly when you already know the specific amount of money you want to collect. Payment intents don't have high-level features like line items or discounts, but they provide a great foundation for your own high-level abstractions if you want to handle things like tax, shipping, or recurring payment scheduling on your end. Note that creating charges directly is technically possible, but doing so is deprecated and not recommended. Creating charges directly is a legacy integration path and only supports a small subset of the payment methods and payment flows our other payment objects support. Remember, this is an overview, not a comprehensive list of every possible use case. Now that you know what our payment objects are designed to do and how they relate to each other, you can select the best ones for your use case and build an integration that suits your specific needs. If you want a low-level foundation to build on, you can create payment intents directly, but we recommend you use our high-level objects and features whenever possible to take full advantage of what Stripe has to offer.